Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to one and all. Thank you for joining us for the webinar on updates on the latest medicine options for DMD, a subject which is keenly and eagerly followed by parents all over the world. This webinar is hosted by Bharat MD Foundation, a parent advocacy organization formed by the DMD mothers, and the co-founders are Ms. Raghubai ma'am, Ms. Anita, and Ms. Rama Lakshmi. So this is indeed an honor to have with us a distinguished pediatric neurologist, Dr. Aravindhan Veerapandiyan, MD, who is an assistant professor of pediatrics in the Division of Pediatric Neurology for the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences at Arkansas Children's Hospital, with specialized interest and training in neuromuscular disorders in children. He is the director of the Comprehensive Neuromuscular Program and co-director of the Muscular Dystrophy Association Care Center at ACH. Dr. Panda, as he is generally called, earned his medical degree from the Government Medical College in Trichy, India in 2007. He completed a residency in child neurology at Rutgers University, New Jersey Medical School in Newark, New Jersey, and a fellowship in neuromuscular medicine at University of Rochester. He also has postdoctoral research experience in child neurology at Duke University Medical Center. Dr. Veerapandiyan has a passion for clinical research and education. His clinical research focuses on neuromuscular disorders in children, such as Duchenne muscular dystrophy, myotonic dystrophy, other muscular dystrophies such as FSHD, LGMD, spinal muscular atrophy, etc. He has been involved in several industry-sponsored clinical trials and investigator-initiated projects in these areas. He also has interest in research focusing on resident and medical student education and implementation science. He has published more than 25 peer-reviewed articles and has presented his work at several meetings nationally and internationally. He is a member of the American Academy of Neurology, the Child Neurology Society, and the American Association of Neuromuscular and Electrodiagnostic Medicine at the University of Rochester Medical Center, Rochester, New York. We welcome you, Dr. Veerapandiyan, and thank you for taking time from your busy schedule on a weekend to talk to the DMD community on a topic of utmost importance. I have a humble request to all the viewers to kindly switch off their videos and mute their microphones for a smooth transition. We will be posing questions first, which we have received by the time of registration, and thereafter, time permitting, we shall take questions which are put in the chat, and then from those who have raised their hands. Thank you, everyone. And whatever questions are answered will be answered in English. And any person who wants their questions answered in any local or regional language, kindly write to Bharat MD Foundation. The email will be posted in the chat, and we will make the necessary arrangements to get it translated and send it back to you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Pandiyan.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this. I was thinking for this specific session, not having any PowerPoints or anything, we can just kind of go through the questions and have more conversations and answer any questions that you all have. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yes, doctor, that will be fine.
Okay. I don't know if some if you want to kind of someone ask the question, or I can go through the questions that were sent to me. Either way is fine.
Yeah. Whichever is comfortable for you. If you want me to ask, I can ask the questions one by one after another, and or you want to read them out.
Sure. If you want to just kind of ask me.
Sure.
And if you have the same theme questions, we can answer them. Yeah.
So we have already clubbed the questions which we have received, so that please note everyone that same question has been repeated. So we have clubbed them all together, and we are asking doctor. First one is, what is the success rate of gene therapy SRP 9001? Is gene therapy a one-time solution for DMD?
Yeah, so I think this is something that we've been talking about, right? So I don't know, what do we mean by success rate, right? So based on what we know, so gene therapy, the one that was just approved in the US, the SRP 9001, there is dystrophin production, but there's a wide range of dystrophin production, right? So there's some patients have as low as 10 or 11%, whereas others we also seen as high as 80% in the clinical trials. Now we just kind of, from what we know, it's boys different boys react differently. We have seen improvements in their motor function and some, and we're also seeing like kind of plateau, not improvements after a couple of years. So it's kind of depending on the boy. We only have like 4 to 5 years of follow-up data. So if you look at the clinical trials, we have about 4 to 5 years. The NSA has continued to improve. But you need even longer to actually see how is it overall changing the trajectory of the disease. So there are, like I said, there are boys who respond well, and there are also boys who doesn't respond to it. So we just have to keep in mind, based on what we know so far. In terms of if it is a one-time, so right now, yes, it is one-time intravenous infusion, right? And we know none of the treatments that we have available is a cure, right? Meaning it's not going to stop the progression of the disease, or it's not going to reverse the disease process, right? It is all slowing down the disease progression. So there is research that's being just now starting to look at redosing, if we can redose these patients. The challenges would be, if they already have this virus, then they have antibodies to that virus in their blood, right? So then you may not be able to do that. So the studies are looking at how can we fix that now. Is there a way that we could take those antibodies out and then treat, or maybe using a different approach, maybe not a virus-based approach. So those are still in the very initial stages. And I think also, what are the other gene therapies in pipeline? So the Sarepta's one that's the one that's approved right now. So there's Pfizer. They are completing their what we call the phase 3 study, which is a placebo-controlled study. So that's also in the pipeline, and there are a few other companies, right? There's Regenex Bio, who's also doing in phase 1 part of the gene therapy study. There's Solid Biosciences. These are some of the ones that are in pipeline. Now, all of the ones that I've told you about, they all use AAV vectors, which is the adeno-associated virus vectors, and they use mini or microdystrophin. There are also some companies, again, they're more in preclinical stage, not in the clinical trial stage yet, still within the lab, looking at other approaches. Can we actually give the full length dystrophin protein, or full length dystrophin gene? So those are being looked at, but they're very early phase in the preclinical stages.
Okay. So how can one enroll in clinical trials for gene therapy if living outside of the USA?
So yeah, that's also a question that I get asked a lot. So it depends on the study, and also depends on the sponsors and what country you are at. For example, Sarepta's study, they have at least the gene therapy for older boys. I don't think there's any sites in India for the gene therapy part, but there are other countries, like I think UAE, probably one. There are a few other countries that they're conducting that study. There are some studies which are only in the US, and some of them allow international patients, some of them don't. The reason why they don't allow is mainly because they're concerned that the families may not follow through that. They may come get the infusion or anything done, and they don't show up, or they don't follow through the further research visits and stuff, because research is commitment, right? So you have more visits, that there's more first few months after the infusion, you have more frequent visits, and then it's going to be once every 2 months or every 3 months, depending on the trials. So they're concerned that the international patients may not follow through that. So we have dosed patients from other countries, including from India, and different trials. There are ways around it that we can work through, but it is doable. But again, it is a challenge to show them that you live in the US and then you travel here, Some companies will be willing to offer financial support, some companies won't. So it's a lot, but again, it's doable. There are ways around it. You just have to work through it. And I'm happy to help for anyone if you want to reach out in terms of any trials that you would be interested and kind of talk through the depending. It's very specific based on different companies and trials how we can work through that.
What are the latest updates and on the efficacy of gene therapy for DMD patients?
Now, I think, like we said before, we talked about the Sarepta. So here it's approved in the US for ages 4 and 5. And you might have looked at their phase 3 data that was recently announced in the March, right? The February, March, that it's when you look at the placebo-controlled study for age 4 to 7, their primary endpoint, which is the North Star Ambulatory Assessment. It's a functional assessment that we do in clinic also. So it did not meet this primary endpoint. What did that mean was they compared the boys who received gene therapy versus placebo, which is just a water infusion or like a regular saline infusion. They compared those boys 12 months after the infusion. There was difference in the NSAA scores between those two groups and also from baseline, but the difference was not statistically significant. So that's, but the reason for that, which we are thinking is, I think it still works, but you just need, given that how slow how the progression of the disease is, and also a lot of variability within the boys with different genetic changes. 1 year may not be enough time to actually show a huge difference. They may need to be followed for longer than 1 year. But given that, the rest of the assessments that they looked at in that study, they looked at the time to stand, which is time taken by the boy to stand up straight from laying down position, and then there are other measurements that they use. All of them actually had statistically significant difference except the NSAA. So having that data in hand, they went back to FDA. Now the FDA is reviewing it. So they're hoping for some sort of label expansion. Right now it's only 4 to 5. It may be expanded to all ambulatory boys, or just 4 to 7 or 4 to 8, something like that. And then the other trial that's like I said, the Pfizer trial is the phase 3 is still completing. They're expecting to release some data later part of this year. Then the Regenex Bio, we are doing the phase 1 studies. Some of the results were already, we talked about that in the MDA meeting in March. There were about 5 boys dosed. If you look at the dystrophin expression, it was between 11% and up to 75-80%. There was dystrophin expression, actually good dystrophin expression in older boys, 10 and 11-year-old, and no safety events issues so far in that study. But we have dosed only about 7 or 8 patients so far, and we continue to enroll for that study. Another thing that's coming up is Solid Biosciences is another company also looking at DMD gene therapy. They are also in phase 1, meaning just looking at the safety. Right now, they're enrolling in 2 sites in the United States, one in Nationwide Children's Hospital, Ohio, and the other one in UCLA in California. It's 4 to 7-year-old, I think. But they're doing like stepwise. They want to get boys who weigh less than like 25 kilograms first, and then slowly expand it to the next group. So these are some of the recent ones. And I think those are the only ones in the clinical stages. There are some trials that, when I say preclinical, still within the animals in the lab. It's not into the humans yet, from a gene therapy standpoint.
Presently, in which countries is gene therapy available, and when can we expect it to be available in other countries like India?
I would love that it's available in India right now, but no, I don't have control over that. From Sarepta's standpoint, right now, I think in the US, it's Sarepta, right? Their product in the ex-US, it's handled by a different company called Roche. And I think right now it's also available in the UAE. Dubai. I don't think it's available in any other countries in this point of time. And I do know Sarepta and Roche has been working to get this to India, but I don't know where they are at this point of time. I know.
The estimated cost of it, if it is known?
Sorry, go ahead.
What is the tentative estimated cost of this therapy?
Sure. So I know I can talk from a US perspective. It's the drug itself is $3.1 million. I don't know how to convert that into you can convert into Indian rupees. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is per annum or for one dosing, you mean?
No, it's the gene therapy is one-time dose, right? So it's just for that that dose.
Okay.
And then, that is if we have had patients reaching out for self-pay cost, right? So, hey, it's not available in our country, but we can actually come and take the treatment if there are hospitals, including us in the United States, that actually do take self-pay patients. They get funding, either they have their own money or they do fundraising within their own country, or they get some government funding. And different hospitals set different prices for that. There's a drug cost, and there's also cost surrounding, you get infusion, and then there's safety period for 3 months. You get blood work, like once a week, blood work for at least 3 months, right? So you would get a quote based on including all of those. So, it's probably somewhere closer to 3.9 to $4 million, including the $4 million US, including the gene therapy and the follow-ups.
Thank you. So will it work on non-ambulatory children? Will gene therapy work on non-ambulatory children?
So it's the Elevidys, at least the SRP-9001, it's being studied in the non-ambulatory boys right now. We don't have the results yet, but there are a few boys that are non-ambulatory that was dosed initially. They do show dystrophin expression, but we just don't have enough data to say how much is that going to be, or how good is this. We just don't have the data. They're still in the clinical trials phases.
Okay, so it is more effective in ambulatory for the time being.
At least what we have, yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work in, why it shouldn't work in the non-ambulatory boys, but at least as of now, we just don't have that data, because we are doing the studies in the non-ambulatory boys right now.
Okay. Will this be applicable for all the exon deletions and duplications and all that? Or because in one webinar, we heard that from exon 1 to 17 deletion, it is not applicable, a particular gene therapy?
So it's a two question, right? So one, I think in the commercially approved Elevidys SRP-9001 is contraindicated for boys who have deletion of exons 8 or 9. Any deletion that includes exon 8 or 9, they're contraindicated. They're not getting the therapy because of this. They are at very high risk of getting this side effect called immune-mediated myositis. That's inflammation of the muscle. That's actually an immune reaction, allergic reaction to, not allergic, but more of immune reaction to the dystrophin gene and the protein that you're actually getting. So, and then it actually makes the therapy ineffective, not working, and it can make the weakness even worse. So that's why it's contraindicated. Now, when we started doing the trials, we had been excluding boys from exons 1 to 17 because we initially thought though all of them are high risk. But then what we have learned in the last few years that the boys who have 8 and 9 are very high risk. 1 to 17, except the 8 and 9, they are still at higher risk, but that's manageable. So that's why when the FDA looked at the data, they approved it for everyone except for who have exons deletion 8 and 9. Now, if you look at the clinical trials, they're still excluding boys who have exons 1 to 17. But SRP-9001 can be used in boys who have exons 1 to 17, except 8 and 9.
Okay, thank you. Can you please update us?
Dr. Aravindhan, I have few queries.
Can we finish questions, sir, first, which are there in the register, which have come to us? Then we'll take up all these questions, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, sir. Doctor,
I'll try to go fast. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Can you please update us about the Reginex bio trial, as some positive efficacy was observed in the initial assessment stage? Can it be applicable for older non-ambulatory young adults too?
Okay, so the Reginex trial right now, it's mainly for like I said, we have dosed. We have dosed about 6 or 7. We have the data that was published, that was shown in the meetings for 5 boys. It is still in the phase 1 stages. We're including boys 4 to 11 years of age, but they have to be, I think, ambulatory. But there are plans to expand that to non-ambulatory boys. They just not it's not done yet. So, but there are plans to expand the trial to non-ambulatory boys.
Okay.
I'm going to put a link to Reginex bio so you can look at some of the data there. Yeah.
Thank you. For children of the age group 12 years having duplication from 57 to 60, which gene therapy will work and which companies enrolling for the same? Question 8.
So group 12, age 12 years duplication. So right now I don't think any gene therapy trials are including 12 years old, except the Sarepta Envision study, which is closed in the US. It might be open in other countries, but in the United States, it's closed for enrollment. But I'm sure there will be studies that will come up.
Okay. Now, suppose if a child has deletion exon 45, will gene therapy be applicable for him, and how will it help him, and to what extent?
Give me 1 minute.
Question
So you
9.
said deletion of exon
45.
Okay. So how old, I think, is the question? But I think right now there's no exon 45 deletion is not a contraindication.
Okay.
For SRP-9001 or anything. How it's going to work, I think we have the dystrophin data that we talked about, but it really going to be individual patient based.
Okay. Now, there are some few queries about Givinostat. So they said, when will that be available in India? When will this drug be available in India? Any idea, sir?
So personally, I've discussed that with the Givinostat is from an Italian company. It's a smaller company, and they're not ready yet in the US also. So from other countries, they have no idea. But I've been asking them, but if I get any update, I'll definitely update the Bharat Foundation. I've been talking to them about it. So what does it do? It is the main mechanism of action is also anti-inflammatory. Kind of similar to steroids, but slightly different pathway. If you look at the chemical pathway, but it is anti-inflammatory. Based on the trials, they have tried only on the ambulatory boys, but the approval is for anyone ages 6 and older. What they have seen is actually one of the key things that you want to remember is in the ambulatory boys, it actually prolongs the ambulation for further like 2 years. For example, if you're on steroids, your ambulation, loss of ambulation is delayed for about 2 years. If you add this is another 2 years. So this mainly the concept here is inflammation and slowing down of the disease progression. Now, the challenge is the side effects. There's been a few side effects. Mainly one of them is the platelet count can go down, but most importantly, the cholesterol and triglyceride levels go up with this treatment. So they have seen a lot of dose changes, but even within the clinical trial because of that. Now, we know some of the Duchenne boys to begin with, they already have high triglycerides. So that may be an issue for Givinostat, but that's about it. We haven't seen. There's a theoretical risk of heart arrhythmia, like heartbeats, but like what we call QTC prolongation. But they haven't seen that in the clinical trial. The main thing is the triglyceride levels being high.
So
And
would it be
just to,
possible for those who are not on steroids, those who are not using steroids, can they be given this medicine?
so yes, the clinical trials they have tried only with boys who are on steroids, but yes, if you're not on steroids, you can definitely do this commercially, but it's not a replacement for steroids.
What is the update on Elvidis? When can Sarepta make it available globally and in India?
Yeah, so like I said before, the Elevidys, Sarepta has rights only for the US. Ex-US is by another company called Roche, ROCHE, but they have been trying. I don't know when that will be in India. I know they took time for them to get to UAE. I think they're also working on other countries. I just don't know about when that's going to happen, exact timeline and stuff.
Okay.
And if I think maybe Bharat MD or someone can actually reach out to Roche also to see where they stand.
Okay. Now coming to Vamarlone, in what way is it different from prednisone and deflazacort?
Sure, yeah. So one thing when we talk about Vamarlone, I always say it's also a steroid. It's not something that's not a steroid, right? So it's also a steroid. If you look at the FDA label prescribing information, they list every single thing, side effect that you see with any steroids. So like so now we have three options, right? So there's prednisone, there's deflazacort, there's Vamarlone. So I'm gonna see. So when they look at the study, when they compared the effectiveness, they only compared the effectiveness of Vamarlone and prednisone, and we know Vamarlone is equally effective as prednisone. But from my opinion, from my experience, deflazacort is actually better than prednisone from an effectiveness perspective. We know it's slightly better than prednisone in delaying the disease progression, delaying the loss of ambulation, also with heart and lungs. The key difference with Vamarlone is the behavior problems are less with Vamarlone compared to prednisone, but they don't have comparisons with deflazacort. The other thing is bone. There's less number of vertebral fractures that can happen with steroids. It's less with Vamarlone compared to prednisone or deflazacort. Then the another key difference is height. So kids who are on the Vamarlone are actually staying at regular normal heights compared to ones who are on prednisone and deflazacort. But again, that's also a little tricky because we know boys who are taller, boys with Duchenne who are taller, they tend to be weaker compared to boys who are shorter. So being tall doesn't mean that you're good, because you can be a little weaker than that. So that's also something you have to keep in mind when you make a decision. Those are the key two differences with Vamarlone. Now, from this, the con or the problem or challenge there is we have used prednisone and deflazacort for a long time, and we have long-term data on that in terms of what does it do to the heart and lungs and puberty and other things. We just don't have that information on Vamarlone. So that's something also to keep in mind when you think about treatment decisions. It is available in the US. We are trying to use, and I think again, well, in the US it's a different company. For other countries, the company is called Synthera. They are still working through to get to other countries, which again I don't know when that will be available. The price, at least in the US, it's kind of similar to Emflaza or deflazacort cost. I know deflazacort is cheaper in India and other countries compared to US, but I think Vamarlone is, if you look at from an Indian price, I think Vamarlone is going to be much more expensive than deflazacort. That's there.
What will be the cost of Givinostat?
It's not publicly
Okay.
available. Yeah, they
Available.
have not. Yep. I'm just curious. I was just checking somewhere online. It seems like there might be some pharmacies in India that's actually selling Vamarlone. I might be wrong. You guys check into that.
Dr. Aravindhan, this is Venkata.
Yeah.
I am actually from Hyderabad.
Okay.
I am 41-year-old and with a deletion with 45, 46, 47. In-frame deletion it was. So I was diagnosed at the age of 12. Currently, I am associated with Novartis. I am a medical affairs scientist. So there is a dealer called Icris Pharma who is based in Gurugram. They are actually trying to purchase this Vamarlone and Givinostat. They have quoted me a price that it is 5,500 euros in the UAE, in Dubai. So they are the only dealers who are trying to get these two medicines. But before going into that, I have one main question, because as a patient and as a therapy area expert in neuroscience, I would like to clarify some of my doubts with you. The main doubt is, as a patient, I strongly believe that all these three medications must be combined with proper nutrition and physiotherapy to get the best results. That is one point I would like to address to the crowd here, because we can't just, once the infusion is done, I'm not sure how good it is, because in BMD, how that gene therapy works, I'm not yet sure, because from the literature, what I believed was some hinge region and repeat regions of the dystrophin protein are accurately designed in microdystrophin, unlike an truncated protein with a in-frame deletion in a BMD patient. So, if for example, if I am I can get the treatment with Elvidise, what I would do is I would go for a vigorous physiotherapy sessions, because I am still able to maintain ambulation through vigorous physiotherapy only, and plus nutrition. So that is my main question, sir, because I believe that there is a 71-year-old ambulatory patient, based on his dystrophin, the original microdystrophin was designed. So I just wanted to understand from your knowledge that how different is a BMD in-frame deletion dystrophin expression with Elvidase.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Venkat. As informed earlier, any specific questions will be answered later, because we have many questions lined up. Please bear with us. Thank you. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Rama. So there's some questions. Will gene therapy benefit adult 20 and 20 plus children, DMD children?
So again, it's going to be risk versus benefit. Venkat, I'll come to your point in a bit after we are done. But yes, for this question, yes, it depends on the risk versus benefit and how severe they're affected at the age and what are our goals. So for every single patient, when you think about treatment, right, it is definitely based on what are your expectations and goals, and what you want to treat, and taking the risk versus benefit. Now, if they would make dystrophin, I would probably say yes. We don't have the data from clinical trials yet.
What are the general risks, or what you say fallouts of taking this gene therapy or the other medications which have come out recently, like Givinostat?
So I think if you talk about risk for gene therapy, it's kind of whatever gene therapy you're looking at. The theme is the same. It's all immune-mediated side effects because of your immune response from your body. So from a gene therapy standpoint, based on the timeline, you can kind of see what comes. The first few days, there's nausea, vomiting, fever and stuff in the first few days after the infusion, right? And then within the first week to two after the infusion, you can get what's called myocarditis, which is inflammation of your heart muscle. This is all from immune response of your body to the vector, the virus that you're getting. Then as you go on to from 2 to 3 weeks, there is something called complement, which is a part of your immune response to the body. And that can cause what's called, the medical term is called hemolytic uremic syndrome, but it's pretty much affecting your kidneys. Again, we have not seen that with SRP 9001 or in though that was actually seen in Pfizer studies and also in Solid Bioscience in the past. We have not seen that yet, but it can still. That's one of the side effects that we have to keep in mind. So there's 1 week, 2 week, and then once you get into the 5 to 6 weeks mark after the infusion, you can have the liver injury that can happen, which is also an immune response to the vector, to the virus. And then about 2 months after the infusion, you can get what's called, that we talked about before, the immune-mediated myositis, which is inflammation of the muscle. That can happen about 2 months. That's actually immune response to not to the virus, because by the time you would expect that most of the virus is all gone, get out of your body, you just have the dystrophin gene and the protein. It's actually the immune reaction to the dystrophin protein itself or the gene itself. And again, like I said before, only boys with exon 8 and 9 deletions are at very high risk of having that. So this is kind of overall concept of adverse effect profile for gene therapy. Again, some of the exceptions, there is a death that was noted in Pfizer study in an older non-ambulatory boy, because to begin with, their heart function was not normal. So that's always a risk. So we keep that in mind. And then Vamarlone, it's like any other steroid side effects. So I don't want to get into details of that. And I touched on the Givinostat also from, what are the main adverse effects for Givinostat.
Okay. Now, one parent has asked that their child has only one exon deletion, that is 45, out of frame. So will this gene therapy and all these new medications be applicable for them?
Yes, like I said before, exon 45 is out of frame. It does cause Duchenne, but it's when you compare it to other deletions, exon 45 deletion is slightly what we call intermediate phenotype that we know. But yes, the therapies would be applicable
for everyone. Yeah, now there are some people who have asked general questions related to neurology. They said, how do we manage the DMD patient in current times? Like, what is the best way to manage them?
Yeah, so I think this kind of, I can tie this with, my Venkat's point too. So like we discussed before, all of these therapies, they're available, right? These are not cure. They are still, the disease, they are going to slow down the progression. They're not cure. They're not going to reverse the disease process. They're not going to stop the progression of the disease itself. So whatever you get all of these, therapies and things, the multidisciplinary care is not going to change. So you have to continue to have those multidisciplinary care of, seeing multiple doctors, including cardiology, neurology, pulmonology, every 6 months to a year. Steroids are still going to be there. It's not going to go away for boys with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, at least. Of course, based on your kids' needs, you would need therapies, physical therapy. If they need occupational and speech, they would need that also. Of course, nutrition, with steroids, there's always going to be, weight gain and other things. So that plays into role too. So your standard of care, continued follow-ups and management doesn't change just because you have all of these. That's because all of these involved new therapies, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So is there any list of hospitals worldwide doing gene therapy now? Where can we get such a list?
That's a good question. You can probably, I know Sarepta maintains a list of at least sites in the US that their product is being used, that you can definitely reach out to them. I don't know about the other countries, because it's going to be depending on each country, their approval status. You may be able to get the clinicaltrials.gov or from a Sarepta also from their website, what other countries are actually doing clinical trials, but not commercial dosing.
Okay. A parent had written that their son is 11 years. His overweight and stomach is always bloated like a balloon. What should be done for them? The child has DMD.
Yeah, I think it's it could be multiple different things. You may have to, sometimes they have what's called lumbar lordosis. The spine is already going in, so because of the low tone of your body, you can have your abdomen can always look like it's big. That's a possibility. Another one is could be constipation, and could also be a reflux can contribute to that too.
Okay.
So hopefully you can kind of get evaluated by your doctor and see what's going on.
Should they go to a gastroenterologist or a pediatrician?
No, I think gastroenterologist should be good, and if they have a neurologist, they can also help with constipation part as well.
Mm-hmm. So, will there be a treatment for LGMD and any medicine available for LGMD 2B?
So there are, I think it's a great question. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy is now evolving, right? So there are some clinical trials and gene therapy trials coming out for limb-girdle. I don't think there's any commercially approved therapy available. I know Sarepta has, they have a natural history study, meaning just kind of continue to watch them and see how the disease progresses. And then there's also, if you look up their website, there are specific types of LGMD. They have gene therapy studies, and then also gene therapy study and another study for LGMD type 2I. But no commercially available therapy yet. Yeah.
Okay. There's one parent who says how to test the significance of missense mutation that was not recorded before. Child has a missense mutation in the DMD gene. The specific mutation is cysteine to phenylalanine. I think. Sorry, I'm about that.
Is it in the? Did you put that in the question list or somewhere else?
Number 21 question.
Okay. Number. Maybe I don't have that. So
that's specifically me. My child was actually having so we did a genetic testing because his CK levels was between 300 to 400, and then we went for genetic testing, and the mutation came back on the exon 20. So
how high
we're
was
trying to. CK was between 300 to 400. We've tested about 4 times. Every other month, and then it was between 300 to 400, and then the mutation came back at exon 20, which is at the rod domain actually. So we've sent out a VES as well, the whole exome sequencing testing, but so yeah, so we're trying to understand what.
Just 2 questions quickly. Can you tell me what were the symptoms?
The symptoms was he was actually falling down frequently when compared to other children, but he doesn't do it anymore. It was a little before, but at some point he was affected with at age 1 he was affected with COVID, and then after that we noticed these falls. But we almost accounted it to daycare or something like that. But at 3 years checkup we tried to understand if they just our pediatrician wrote a CK because we complained about a little fatigue and weakness, and that led to the genetic testing. We're seeing PT, but there is also a little proximal weakness, and he has he's unable to balance on the right leg mostly compared to the left leg. So those are the symptoms so far.
Got it. And what is the mutation you said? Can you tell me one more time?
What is it? The mutation is for cis2P at exon 20.
So
it's a missense mutation.
Yeah. So can you repeat it?
Cysteine to phenylalanine at 816, codon 816.
816. Okay, got it. So I mean that doesn't sound like Duchenne based on the CK. So I think WS is a good step just to make sure that you didn't miss anything else.
He got another mutation, another invitate testing, which is MYH7 and SCNA. So we saw a cardiologist and got a echo done, and they didn't see anything abnormal in that. Also, yeah, just that. And SCNA doesn't seem to have any symptoms or issues as such.
So if
So
you can, I mean, if you can email me the genetic testing reports, I can kind of look at it and tell you what.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure, doctor. I'll take your email from Bharat Foundation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So there's
Thank
one
you so
question, the impact of steroids on scoliosis, the steroid regimes on scoliosis.
Yeah, so that's a great question. You know, with early start of steroids and all of that, mainly overall we are seeing less number of scoliosis surgeries and better scoliosis, less severe scoliosis. So I think it doesn't. I don't think I could differentiate between one or other, but overall with early start of steroids, definitely there's less severe scoliosis and less number of scoliosis surgeries that we are doing.
People want to know if there's any medication in trial for out of frame 45 exon deletion.
So out of frame exon 45 deletion?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, yeah, any, I mean, there's exon 44 skipping medication trials are ongoing. And then there's they're eligible for any sort of gene therapy trials and other trials that's applicable for any Duchenne patients.
Okay. Is Veltox helpful for exon 51 deletion? If yes, at what extent? To what extent?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the first part. Which one?
Veltox, that's what the parent has written. Veltox, VELTOX.
TYX?
VELT, X is O for ostrich, X-ray, X for X-ray. Veltox.
I have to know what exactly that is. Is that like a drug or?
It's a multivitamin. It's a multivitamin.
What is it? How do you spell it?
It is Veltox capsule, which contains copper, manganese, L-glutamic acid, methylcobalamin, levocarnitinol, such nutrients.
If it is a multivitamin, that's fine. But there's no scientific literature, but we always advise everyone to take multivitamin here at least. And then vitamin D and calcium for sure.
Yeah, a parent wants to know if the child has exon deletion 8 to 37, will gene therapy be applicable to them? As you said, 8.
So right, as of right now, no, because exon, like I said, if you have exon 8 or 9 deletion, as part of your genetic change, you are excluded from the clinical trials and also from the commercial dosing. Just because of this high risk, we are still trying to see how we can mitigate that risk. But as of this moment, no.
Okay, thank you. Is in-frame mutation included in gene therapy?
Great question. I think, typically when we talk about in-frame, we're talking about in-frame causing milder phenotype, more of Becker, or even milder phenotype. They have not tried gene therapy for that yet, but there are rare occasions where you can have in-frame deletions or in-frame mutations, but you would have more of intermediate or severe phenotype, slightly severe than Becker. In that cases, we could probably try commercial dosing. But when you think about it, the diagnosis of Duchenne and Becker there are many things you put together clinically, how they look, and also the genetic change. The rule is if you have an out of frame mutation, you have Duchenne. If you have an in-frame mutation, you have Becker. But there are exceptions.
But sir, sorry to interrupt. So such patients are not excluded, right? So if they are volunteering, they're eligible.
Depending on if you're talking about clinical trials, it's depending on the trial. Some trials would say that it doesn't matter what phenotype, like how you clinically look, but if you have an inframe mutation, you're automatically excluded from the trial, from the research, right? Now, if I'm seeing somebody in my clinic who has inframe mutation, but who has if you look at them clinically, they look like Duchenne phenotype, or even, severe than Becker phenotype that I would expect, then I am offering the treatment for gene therapy.
Okay. So structurally, I assume that the natural BMD phenotype, the dystrophin structure is not that stronger compared to the microdystrophin design, right? So that was my main doubt. So how superior is the microdystrophin compared to a inframe deletion dystrophin expressed in the inframe deletion patient?
I don't think it's superior or inferior, because the whole concept of microdystrophin and mini dystrophin actually came from patients with Becker, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So once people want to know why Asian countries are not included in clinical trials, is it because of their economy?
That's a complicated question. For the clinical trials, you have to ask the sponsors, the companies. But I think I can tell there's a lot of factors I could guess, or I could at least say what I heard from the companies. Why? Probably a lot of bureaucracy and political challenges to deal through once to actually get the trials. I know after a long time, Sarepta was able to get into the get the exon skipping trials into India. But then the other concern that I've heard from sponsors is the strict the inclusion exclusion criteria is not being maintained in some of the other countries, and people are able to kind of I don't want to sound rude, but kind of manipulate the numbers and data to show that, to make someone who wouldn't be eligible, if that makes sense. So that affects the integrity of the study and the data itself.
What is it as doctors that you all look for in a country to start a clinical trial? I mean, what are the parameters you need? What is it that you require?
Yeah, I think, I don't know from a legal standpoint, but of course, like they talk to FDA, the companies would talk to the regulatory authorities in the Indian government. And I think that's took a long time, I can say, from first Sarepta to actually get to that point when they thought about the exon skipping studies. So that's the first step. If they pass that step, and I think the rest of it is like just mainly go to the sites, like what could be the actual hospitals or the sites that can do it, if they have the necessary staff, the experts, doctors, neurologists who's familiar with Duchenne, physical therapists who can actually do some of the testing and assessments, and if they have other like labs, things and other things that they could do. But I think the key challenge that I heard from some of the companies is the regulatory challenge to pass that with the government.
Okay. So a parent wants to know, can they give calcium and multivitamins to their child who is 10 years and has been diagnosed 3 years back?
Yes, you can start multivitamin and calcium. Yes.
And about this vitamin D, I mean, what is the general thing? Can it be given, or calcium should be given a break after every 3 months? Is there any particular regiment like that, or?
No, so with the vitamin D, you have to have calcium to have your vitamin D levels high to be normal. So you cannot, if you're vitamin D deficient, you cannot just do that with vitamin D. You would have to have calcium. But as long as you're taking it every day, vitamin D, calcium, there's no need for break. You have to check vitamin D levels at least once a year, and there is a range. It has to be at least between 40 to 80. If it is deficient, then you would treat the deficiency.
Mm-hmm. A parent says that the child is 12 years and the weight is 40 kg and taking 24 mg deflazacort steroid. But is there any other supporting medicine for DMD because they have exon deletion 49 to 54 rather than deflazacort, as it's causing a lot of side effects to the child?
Yes, I think it's either prednisone versus deflazacort. Vamarlone, maybe like we was talking about, may not be available. But there's no huge difference between Vamarlone and prednisone and the weight gain, if that is what you're talking about. It doesn't matter what steroids, what genetic change you have. Steroids, there's no specific genetic change. I think deflazacort among the ones we have is probably the better one. With the weight gain, you have to. It's a diet is the only thing that you could do. If it is really bad, then you can think about altering the dose of deflazacort. Talk to your neurologist and see if you could either go for a weekend dosing or something like that.
Can
Someone
I
has
speak, ma'am?
Who is this, ma'am? Kashyap. Ma'am,
Yeah,
I
I
just
am.
have some
Yeah,
questions.
sorry.
I just-
Yes, Vardhan.
Yeah,
Just now, sir, discussed, no?
Yeah, okay.
Actually, we have discussed with the neurologist, but neurologist is saying you have to give 44 mg as his weight is 40 kg and there is no other way. And we tried our best, but his weight is not at all decreasing. Day by day, it is increasing. So we are planning to decrease the deflazacort dose. But doctors are saying, no, you please don't decrease the dose because due to his weight, he must take 24 mg. So what is sir's advice?
So he is 40 kilograms. 24 is actually on the lower side for him. But if this is already causing a huge weight gain, then I would think about discussing with like weekend dosing or something like that. Instead of every day, you can kind of increase the dose, but you just do 2 days a week or something like that. I have someone hand raised for a long time. Can I have, you think it's Kashyap?
She's the one who spoke to you, doctor, just now. Kashyap.
No, I had a question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, any clinical trial performed in US or UAE, Europe, the same medication is having the same efficacy in Asian child? Because the genetically they are a little bit different. It's not gonna be the same.
That's a good question. Yeah. So how was the clinical trial? I know the patients or the representative of the patients throughout the country or throughout the world. At least I can say that I try to include patients from multiple different ethnicity and different regions. So in our site, we have patients from from India, from China, from Poland, and different countries. But overall, I think you're right. It's probably not the case if you look at overall picture in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shardaji, if the questions are done, shall we go for raising hand because less time is there. If anyone has any more questions, we will ask them to please write down to the mail.
2 questions from the chat. Rama, just quickly.
Please, yeah.
Is there any clinical trial for exon 39 duplication? They want to know because they got their son's heart checkup done and which was normal, but they were told to take medicines like Covasil 2 mg. So what should they do? Should they start the medication though it is normal?
It's exon 39 duplication.
Yeah, exon 39.
It could be more of an in-frame. I have to look, unless you know the clinical picture of the boy, it's hard to see if it is a Becker or Duchenne phenotype. If the heart function is, how old is the boy? I think there's a lot of factor that's gonna come into play for that.
They haven't mentioned the age, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we'll take questions from those who have raised their hands, and then again, I'll come back to the chat. So who is Nora Parmar? Can you please ask your question?
Yeah, hello, good morning, doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like my question, I have 2 questions. Like first one is like, as you said, this Givinostat is not the replacement of steroids. So like, how do we differ in terms of steroids and like, what are the advantages we get in steroids that we don't get in Givinostat?
Okay, so here question also with steroids again, we have a lot long-term long-term data. We have used it for a long time as an anti-inflammatory. With Givinostat, we only have few years of data, and there's no actual comparison between steroids and the Givinostat. So I think that's one of the things. Unless we try in boys without steroids and see what happens, it's kind of hard to understand.
Okay, so like in future, if it is commercially available in India, and if we give Givinostat, so do you recommend to stop the steroid, or do you recommend to continue the steroid and Givinostat both along?
So at least what I'm doing here is I'm continuing both. But if maybe there might be chance that you may be able to decrease the dose of steroids than what they're taking, right? Kind of play with the steroid dose. But I'm recommending that. But there also have patients who absolutely don't want to be on steroids, and in those boys, I can obviously try this too. And that would give us long-term. That would give us some data as well.
Okay. So if we start both, it will be a good benefit.
Yes.
Okay.
There's definitely added benefit. I see a lot of questions on the Becker in-frame treatments and stuff. I'm just gonna comment really quick on that. There's no, I think there's no standard of care for Becker patients yet. We're still working on that. There's definitely heart. If heart is involved, you have to treat the heart like you do for Duchenne. There are some clinical trials, at least one or two. In the US, they're looking at Vamarlone for Becker patients. That's being done. And then also, there's another company called Edgewise who's looking at medicine that they are using. Oops. I think someone have to be muted. I think Ram Gopal Sharma, if you could mute. They're looking at a medicine that the medicine actually, the goal is, the target is to slow down the muscle injury or prevent the muscle injury. So that's also being looked at for boys with Duchenne. I mean, with Becker, sorry. Those are two main things that are being studied for Becker right now in the United States.
Somebody wants to know what is the recommended dose for deflazacort. The doctor has advised 0.9 into body weight. Is that
yes, 0.9 milligram per kilogram per day. Yes, that's a recommended dose.
Rajisha Premraj, can you please ask your question?
Yeah. Hi, doctor. I was the one who asked this exon 39.
अनिता जी मैं भी कुछ बोलना चाहता हूँ रमा जी.
Yeah, I think somebody is. Yeah, somebody needs to unmute. I mean, mute Ram Gopal Sharma.
Hello.
Hello.
Sharma ji.
Rama, please mute Sharma ji.
You can.
Sharma ji, आपको चांस देंगे 2 मिनट वेट कीजिए उनका क्वेश्चन के बाद.
आप आपका हैंड रेज उठाइए. आपका हैंड रेज.
All right, good. Go ahead, Pratisha. Sorry.
Hello.
Yes.
Pratisha, please continue.
Yeah, I was the one who had asked for exon 39 duplication, doctor. Like,
Okay.
is there any clinical trials? And my son was diagnosed 1 year back. Now he's going to be 10 years. And he had this climbing issues on the stairs and falling down and all. So we had done the heart checkup that time also, and after like 6 months and recently also. So nothing has found, like it was quite normal. Nothing was there, but still they had recommended what I have mentioned, that medicine. So actually we just started also, we don't know, like to take a second opinion also. So I was like, if he's not having that issue, so should we take that medicine like for the heart now?
So when did you start having falls and walking issues?
Like around 6 years, 7 years, like that. That is what the time we seriously noticed it.
Okay.
So yeah, and we didn't know it was neuro related. So we went for ortho and all. And 1 year back from Calicut Medical College only, they diagnosed it with DMD. It is a neuro related thing. So that's when we.
No, I was going to say, if you can email me details about your kid, I'm happy to.
Yeah, sure.
That'll be easier.
Yeah, I can mail the details and plus the genetic test report also to you, doctor. So that the questions also, like whatever, like, so I'll do that I'll mail you the details.
Okay, yeah, that would be easier. Yeah.
Yeah, so one parent has asked in the chat, is there any therapy for in-frame duplication of exon 3 to 9? Age is 10. The child is falling frequently.
Exon 3 to 9.
In-frame duplication.
Yeah, there's it's in frame. Is it the same? Is it the same patient or no? It's a different one.
It's in there in the chat, like, you know, so I just
yeah. It's if it is like a Becker phenotype again that we talked about the therapies for Becker. If it is Duchenne, then I think we kind of talked about that too. Again, I'm happy to for specific ones. I'm happy to. They want to email me. I'm happy to answer that through emails.
Thank you.
Specific questions about the patient. Yeah.
Anita, you can go ahead. Anita.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Aravindhan. Anita
Yes.
here. I just wanted to ask this preventive medicines, like just now mother mentioned, Coversil. Should we start it like as soon as possible, or should we start
If it
it
is,
when the child is having any cardiac problem or anything?
yeah, great question. If it is a Duchenne phenotype, a Duchenne boy, it is recommended to start proactively. Now, what age you start? If you look at the care guidelines, they say about 9 or 10. But I know we are kind of moving towards even younger age, 8, 9 years old. So Duchenne phenotype, I think you should start proactively around at least by if you can do by age 8, that's good, or at least by 10.
No, if the child is being diagnosed DMD, and when we are doing the cardiac test like Holter test or echo with GLS, all that test when we are doing, and the reports are like there is not much problem. The cardiologist is saying, no, the heart is healthy. The child is 14, for example, and his cardiac report are normal. But you are suggesting that we should start Coversil.
Yes, you start the cardiac, at least the first one you would start, here with the ACE inhibitor. So, but yeah, you start them proactively when the cardiac function is normal, because echocardiograms may not pick up. There might be underlying mild, what we call fibrosis and stuff. It's usually picked up by cardiac MRIs. So we are learning more and more that proactive starting this cardiac medications is better.
Okay, this cardiac fibrosis we cannot know in normal echo. That's what you are saying.
Yes.
If we go for cardiac MRI, also we cannot find out.
Cardiac MRI, you may be able to. But I think the recommendation is you don't wait for that to show up, because the damage is sort of happening already. By the time you see in the cardiac MRI or echo, it's probably also late. So that's why the recommendation now is actually to start, even if you have a normal cardiac function, to start these medications early on.
And if the child is in frame mutation, then?
So if it is in frame, then it's a different question. I have to look at the actual phenotype. We need to talk about how the boy looks, and if it is a Becker or a Duchenne phenotype, and then we have to decide.
No, my what is there? My son's this one genetic report. When we did first, he got 12 and 13. Then I did mine if just to check if I'm a carrier. So, but I got minus 10 to 15. So that is in-frame mutation.
Yes.
He is going to be 15 in July, and he is walking.
Yeah.
But when we are going for cardiac test, his reports are coming normal. His PFT is also normal.
He's probably
He's
probably then more of a Becker phenotype.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it is Becker,
thank you so much.
Yeah. If it is a Becker phenotype, I think it's okay to wait until you see something in there's no lot of evidence right now or guidelines to start them proactively.
So, like, can we go for gene therapy for that? No.
No, not right now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ajay Kumar Garg, can you please ask your question? Please keep them brief, please. So as many of them.
Yes, sorry. That's fine.
And I'm telling the parents.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Mr. Ajay Kumar Garg, can you please ask your question? Hello, Mr. Ajay Kumar Garg, are you there? We go to next person. Mayank Taneja, can you please ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aravindhan. My son is 10 years old, and 3 years back, everything was fine. But after 3 years back, he started showing these symptoms. And before him, we had one abortion due to the spine was not perfectly made, and the head was not perfectly built. So our doctor advised us to abort and then go for genetic testings and then plan a baby. So before my son, we did our genetic testing and everything, and then we planned. So now in this situation, he has these kind of symptoms where which is difficult for us to understand how it happened. And all of a sudden, 3 years back, it happened. And every time we did tests and everything, his CPK level was always high. Our doctor, our pediatrics told us that his CPK level should be between 250 to 270. That's normal. But his CPK was always 2500, 2700. So the doctor advised us to make sure you control his CPK level first, and then you worry about DMD. So how do we control this CPK levels? I have no idea, and no one able to make us understand how we cure
How old?
this.
I'm so sorry. How old is he? You probably said that. I forgot.
Yeah, he's 10.
He's 10.
Yeah.
I don't think you can control the CPK level. I don't know why they're saying that to you. I don't know if he has, I don't think he has Duchenne based on the CK numbers that you're telling me. He probably needs more neurology evaluation, neuromuscular evaluation, and broader genetic testing to look for other causes.
Okay, because what I realized is that before, I mean, when I go back 6, 7 months, the way he walks, the way he moves his arms and hand, it's kind of little wavy. So that's how doctor analyzed that he has a DMD. But a few months, I mean, like couple of months back, I got him a gym bicycle at home, and he started cycling at least, which I can see now. Before that, he was not able to do it, but now at least he can bicycle at home, not the proper cycle which we take out like downstairs, but at home on a zero level he can do it. Earlier he was not able to do that. So is there an improvement, or is just like that?
No, so I think the first thing you have to do is find out what's going on with him before you conclude that it's Duchenne or Becker or anything. So for that, I think he needs a whole exome sequencing or more genetic testing. So he should.
That is my main concern, because I've been to many hospitals, AIMS, BLK. I mean, these are very reputed and big hospitals in India. And everyone just is looking at his body and the way he moves his body and legs. Basis on those symptoms, they said it's a DMD, and there is no cure, I understand. But they were not able to give me proper guidance. Like, what should I focus on?
Just to interrupt, Mayankji, from which location you are? In India?
Delhi.
Okay, I request, because the time is running out. I'm sorry for interrupting you in between. Can you please all mail your details to us? And in our team, there are expert parents who can guide you more properly, because it's situation, location wise issue. Okay, we will help you out. Don't worry, sir. Please drop a mail to Bharat MD Foundation. There are plenty senior parents here who can help you out. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Would you be, Rama, just a quick question. Would you guys be able to help with genetic testing part 2? I don't know if there are any resources that you'll be able to.
Yeah, here they are available, sir. We will guide him out, and he'll reach you. He'll reach you with with your email. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. And if anyone has more specific questions about your own kid, email me.
Sorry for interrupting. I think Tharamani ji spoke. Shivaprasad sir and Ram Gopal Sharma sir, if you please pose your questions quickly, because time is running out.
Yeah, Shivaprasad sir, please come. Please ask your question.
Hello, sir. Actually, I'm Pavni. I'm wife of Shivaprasad. I just wanted to know, my son has the deletion of from 21 to 28. And they said some other exon has been involved in that. We are planning to do the sequence testing. So will he be eligible for this gene therapy, sir, if it is available?
How old is he, you said?
10 years. Now he is going to 10 years in June.
And what are his symptoms? And he has
no, sir, that's been mentioned as out of frame only. He is ambulatory now.
Okay.
Yeah, in that genetic report, it's been mentioned as out of frame only.
So you said 21 to 28 though, right? No?
Yes. Yeah, 22 to 28, sir.
Okay, 22 to 28. Yes, then it's, yeah. Yes. So he's 10 years old. It's an out of frame. So SRP 9001 is right now applied, approved only for 4 and 5. But once it gets approved or expanded, yes.
Okay.
And there are also some clinical trials that would may be able to take him as the Region X Bio is going to expand also for 11 years old in the future. So they may be. So if you want to just kind of email me, and I'm happy to help you out if that's possible.
Sure. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Rama.
राम गोपाल शर्मा जी आप पूछिए।
हेलो, हाँ मैडम,
हाँ जी।
मैं I take only 4 minutes of doctors. I am Ram Gopal Sharma, sir, from Jaipur, Rajasthan. Respected sir, we DMD family of India feeling proud that a famous doctor of our country has become DMD by occupying an important post in the USA. Sir,
thank you.
You are doing rememberable work for the treatment of children. We all have high hope from you. We have some queries or doubts. Please resolve these. Sir,
yes.
मैं हिंदी अनुवाद भी करूंगा सर। अगर इंग्लिश में पहले एक बार इंग्लिश में बोल देता हूँ। पॉइंट फर्स्ट,
आप हिंदी में बोल दीजिए, आप हिंदी में बोलिए, हम लोग देख।
In USA for DMD children who
शर्मा
are
जी,
undergoing
हेलो शर्मा जी, आप हिंदी में बोलिए, शारदा जी वो इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट कर देंगी, जल्दी हो जाएगा।
जी मैडम जी। फर्स्ट पॉइंट, यूएसए में डीएमडी बच्चों के लिए जो जीन थेरेपी गिविनोस्टेट या अन्य इलाज चल रहे हैं, उनमें भारत के बच्चों के लिए सबसे प्रभावी इलाज कौन सा है? प्लीज लिसन केयरफुली। भारत में सेकंड नंबर क्वेश्चन, भारत में सभी एज ग्रुप के बच्चे हैं, परंतु 60% से अधिक, एक एक बोलूं मैं मैडम, एक एक क्वेश्चन बोलो।
हाँ जल्दी बोलिए क्योंकि टाइम जा रहा है।
भारत में सभी एज ग्रुप के बच्चे परंतु 60% से अधिक बच्चे 10 वर्ष के ऊपर हैं। उनके लिए कौन सा इलाज व दवाई ज्यादा उपयोगी होगी तथा क्या वह अफोर्डेबल कॉस्ट में उपलब्ध हो जाएगी? थर्ड क्वेश्चन, ये इलाज अथवा दवाएं शीघ्र हमारे देश में लाने के लिए क्या उपाय किए जा सकते हैं तथा इनके लिए एज ए पेरेंट्स हमें क्या प्रयास करने होंगे? फोर्थ क्वेश्चन, क्या उक्त इलाज वन टाइम ट्रीटमेंट के रूप में होगा एवं सभी एमडी पेशेंट्स पर समान रूप से कार्य करेगा? कृपया हमारा मार्गदर्शन कर हमारे बच्चों का जीवन बचाएं। सर, you are at a great mission.
So I'll just ask you quickly his questions. Of all the gene therapy, Givinostat and the Vamarlone, which is the most effective one? And for the age group where we have 60%, which is about 10 years in India, which one would be most effective for them? Which therapies and which medicine will be more affordable? And regarding 3 and 4, I think it's a question with the government regulations. We have to deal with with the pharmaceutical company. So I'll get back to him on that.
Okay. I think it's kind of hard to compare different groups of medicines, right? There's steroid, there's Givinostat. The future, if in the real world, it's going to be a combination of multiple things. For individual patient, it's going to be depending on, it's going to vary what medicine is better, would be suitable for that specific boy compared to kind of doing a blanket thing of this is good for all the ambulatory, this is good for all the non-ambulatory. It's always good to have be aware of all the options available, but it's the actual medication that's going to be good for one person is going to be that for that one person, mainly keeping in mind what is the current status and what are the goals, what are the expectations, and then you would decide. I don't think we can compare one to other and kind of put a blanket statement. If that helps, you can explain to him later.
Yeah, I'll do that. And about 10 years, he thinks which therapy, I mean, is there any cutoff below 10 years, about 10 years in therapies like that? Nothing.
No, like I think even with gene therapy, right, it's not the age, it's actually it's not the age, it's not the ambulatory status per se. It's how much they weigh. If they have more weight, you're giving more viral load, so maybe they're at more risk, right? And then what is the heart function? If they have not good heart function to begin with, then they may be at increased risk of having side effects. I think those are the two main things. It's not really the age or the ambulatory status per se.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr.
Hello.
Vipin, can you please ask your question? Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Mr.
Hello.
Garga, please बोलिए जल्दी बोलिए please.
हाँ जी डॉक्टर साहब.
हाँ जी बोलिए.
Doctor, we also discuss in first meeting for my child. He is 49 to 55 deletion. You tell me that my child is Becker. Can this gene therapy is applicable for Becker?
No, not right now. Gene therapy is not available for Becker patients. It's not being studied yet.
And Sarepta, I also contact with Sarepta. He tell me contact for in your hospital at Arkansas Hospital, Dr. Pandya for this treatment. I send him to report also. I also send the mail to Dr. Pandya, but he will not reply me.
So he's talking about.
You're talking to this.
Yeah, you are talking to Ajay ji. आप पांडा जी से ही बात कर रहे हैं. Sir is going to reply. Sir, Ajay is saying that he has contacted Sarepta, and Sarepta wrote back to him saying that please contact Dr. Veerapandiyan in USA. He has written a mail to you, it seems. He's awaiting the reply from you. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Okay, I haven't received, but I'm sure if you wanted to send, yes, I'm happy to respond. Yeah.
आप फिर एक बार भेज दीजिए, वो आपको मेल कर देंगे. हाँ जी. Next, Mr. Vipin Kumar, can you please ask your question? Mr. Vipin
Good evening.
Kumar, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. I'm from New Delhi. My brother is affected with DMD, 45 to 56 deletion. His age is 18, and recently he take medicine Bisolone 10 mg and Celcal syrup. Now in present day, his spinal cord is bended by 12 degree, and his weight is 45 kg. So what will we do for his backbone and her weight? Can you please tell?
Are you talking about when you say spinal cord, talking about the scoliosis?
No, sir.
Can you explain what you mean by spinal cord is bent? I think that I was not quite understanding that.
कुमार, can you please आप क्या बोलना चाहते हैं? अगर आप बोलते हैं कि स्पाइनल कॉर्ड थोड़ा सा बेंड हुआ है, तो आपका मतलब क्या है? वो
क्लॉसिस
मैं वो इतना डॉक्टर से हमने पूछा था, जो हमारे दिल्ली के एम्स के जो डॉक्टर हैं, उनसे पूछा था कि ये इसकी जो स्पाइनल कॉर्ड बैंड हुई है, इसका रीजन क्या है. तो उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ बताया नहीं है, पर उन्होंने ये चीज बताई है कि 12 डिग्री बैंड हो गई है. तो उस वजह से ज्यादा देर वो बैठता है ना, तो दर्द होने लग जाती है उसकी पेट, और उसका वेट भी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया है. तो उसके लिए क्या करें?
He says his child's weight has increased, and doctors have not explained why the spinal cord has been bent. So he doesn't know what to do with that. So should he meet an orthopedic?
I think he's talking about scoliosis. Can you clarify that?
Yeah.
If it is scoliosis, if it is 10%, it's mild. You really don't have to do anything about that. And I think he said he's in his 20s, right? If I remember correctly, or 15. Once your growth is complete, the scoliosis is not going to get worse. As far as the weight gain, it's, you can talk to his doctor, but mainly it's going to be diet. That's nothing much you can really do.
Okay.
So can you suggest any medication or any something that decreases weight?
No, that's not my expertise, but now mainly the diet for now. I don't know how how is it available. Like there are some weight medicine approved for obesity, like to weight loss, but I don't know, or we don't know how safe it is, or I don't even know if they're available.
Yeah, Mr. Ram Babu, can you please ask your question, please?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Hi, sir. Good evening. This is Ram Babu, calling from Guntur. I have twin boys. Their age is now at 9 years old. Both are having 44 deletion skipping. Now that elder first boy is having some chest up, and we are using a Deflascot also. In that one boy chest up, and he's trying to walk, but he's putting only 4 to 5 steps. And after that, you need to some support to walk or stand at their own position. And second boy also same position, but he is not getting weight gain. First boy is getting weight gain due to Deflascot, and second boy is not getting any weight gain. In that situation, can I go for gene therapy, or is there any medicine to use for them?
So I think it's Duchenne. They are 9 years old. Definitely, if SRP90 disruptors, it's still. I mean, you can use that. They would be eligible for that as long as the antibodies are negative. There might be possibility that there might be more clinical trials coming up for older boys in gene therapy. In that case, yes.
Does it answer your query, Mr. Rambabu, or shall we go to the next person, please?
Yeah, that's it, ma'am.
रत्नेश शारदा जी, रत्नेश सिंह जी का लास्ट क्वेश्चन होगा. अजय जी का क्वेश्चन सर ने आंसर किया था. रत्नेश जी आपका लास्ट होगा. एनी क्वेश्चंस प्लीज मेल टू भारत एमडी फाउंडेशन और डायरेक्ट टू सर.
Yeah, hello, this is Veena this side. Hello, sir.
Hi, yes.
Yeah, actually, my son is 14 years old and his scoliosis is around 30-degree bend in his back. And what we got the suggestion was for the surgery. And he's 45 kgs and 14 years right now. And we haven't given him any sort of, steroids till date, because we are not in favor of that, because it's like a slow poison, and so we are just on the back foot. My question was, sir, there is one medicine from Sarepta that is Veltox infusion. How much is it going to be helpful for a child who is having a multiple dilatation, and 51 is also one of that?
So I don't know what Veltox infusion is, but what is this genetic change?
Pardon?
What is this genetic change, the genetic mutation that he has?
It is from, sir, 51 to something. There are multiple dilatation, to be very frank, and 51 is the major one. And what I got to know was for 51, Sarepta has given one infusion that is Veltox.
I need to interrupt you. From where did you get the information? Or
yeah, that I will let you know. There is one, neurologist in Ahmedabad, and there's one lady. She is also having a son, and the son is, is a DMD patient. Then they are getting this infusion, and through her only I got to know this. And my major question was this: ki before taking any sort of guidance from anyone, because it's not easy to get all those medicine in India easily.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, please, sir.
Is it a micro needling acupuncture kind of technique that you're talking about?
No, sir. I have literally no idea regarding this.
As far as I'm aware, I just informed sir that there is this Veltox capsule that is available. It is a multivitamin.
No, it's not a capsule, sir. It's an infusion. It's a.
So as far as I'm aware, it is some kind of micro needling procedure, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you can, yeah, I'm happy to look into it and answer you. If you want to email me what you're talking about.
Yeah, I will surely mail you all his, details. And what you as a doctor suggest me, should I go for surgery? Because it's, what is your suggestion? Because his scoliosis is.
Yeah,
increasing?
if it is 40 degrees, I would. The problem would be it's going to affect his breathing.
Okay.
So I think I would.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Thank you so much.
हेलो रमा जी
Yes, sir.
शर्मा जी मैं आपको बाद में आपको चैट में बोल दूंगी आपको।
जनरल क्वेश्चन किए हैं सभी बच्चों के लिए, मैंने अपने बच्चे के लिए कुछ नहीं किया है, तो प्लीज इनका उत्तर जो है ना, जो मैंने प्रश्न किए हैं उनका थोड़ा उत्तर आप दे सके तो हिंदी में।
शर्मा जी आपका उत्तर दिया गया, वो हिंदी में शारदा मैम आपको बताएंगी ये सबका होने के बाद, क्योंकि सर थोड़ा अभी जल्दी में है। आपको आंसर दिया जाएगा पक्का। अजय जी कैन यू प्लीज रिपीट से योर क्वेश्चन।
मैंने जनरल क्वेश्चन किए हैं, इसमें सब चीज कवर हो जाता है।
यस सर एवरीथिंग इज कवर्ड, वी विल रिप्लाई यू, डोंट वरी। Ajay ji, I think you are answered, but I don't know why you have lifted your hand. Ajay ji, can you please go ahead?
Ajay ma'am, I sent the email to Dr. New. Yes.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. I am Ajay Kumar Chuk this side. As you are just mentioning, I have sent my question, as well as I just want to ask to the sir. My sons 45 to 52 are missing, and the second is what CPK level could be dangerous for the child.
So 45 to 52, yes, it's out of frame, it's Duchenne. So for the CPK level in these boys are going to be high no matter whenever you check. So I don't think you need to keep checking that. The only thing that you want to worry about is something called rhabdomyolysis, which is muscle breakdown with muscle pain. And at that time, if you look at the urine, it's going to be dark, like Coca-Cola colored urine. So that's when you want to be concerned about. Otherwise, you don't have to keep checking the CK levels. It's not affecting their kidneys or anything at all.
Sir, once I have checked that the CPK level was 25,000, and then in the second checkup it was 17,000, sir. So
Yes.
I just want to know what is the danger line, and we should take initiative, and which kind of food we should not give. Kindly advise, sir.
Yeah, so there's no restrictions for food as long as you're not giving him like what the bodybuilders are taking, like creatine and other supplements. No, the CPK levels are going to be high. I have seen as high as 50,000, even 75,000. If they're not in rhabdo, meaning if they don't have muscle pain and dark color urine and stuff, nothing, not dangerous, and you don't have to keep checking it. Okay.
Sir, on a lighter side, as you are from India and there are so many Indian patients are in India, is there any hope for the medium families member that the medicine could be the cheaper or the easily available for the Indian patients, sir?
I wish I could do that. I just don't have control on it.
Yeah, अजय कुमार चंग जी, अजय कुमार जी माफी चाहती हूँ, मैं अजय कुमार चंग और अजय कुमार गर्ग से कंफ्यूज हो गई थी, मैं माफी चाहती हूँ, आप प्लीज क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं। अजय कुमार गर्ग एंड अजय कुमार चंग, I got confused, I'm so sorry.
So may I continue?
Please.
Yeah, on the lighter side as well, I was just asking to the Dr. Saab that there are so many patients in India are increasing day by day. But those who are from the medium family background can't afford this kind of huge amount. So is there any possibility and hope for Indians that in a nominal rate, this kind of medicine can provide in India, sir?
I don't have control over that. I wish I could. But there are things that I've been working with some of the advocacy organizations here and also with sponsors to do something, but we'll see. There's so much to it. If I have a magic wand, I can do that. I don't have
So
control.
the last question only.
So please, there's some questions in the
last
chat
one.
I need to take. Mr. Ajay Kumar Shug, आपने काफी पूछा, एक question है.
Okay.
Please let me attend to that. So there's one
No
parent-
problem, madam. As you said, I am just, okay, comfortable.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. There's one parent who says he has two children. One is aged 11 and one is aged 9 years. Both are brothers and they have DMD with the 32 deletion. Is gene therapy applicable for them?
32 deletion.
Yeah.
So are they, I think, it's an ink frame, but we need to figure out if they could send me the details again, the clinical details. I need to find out if they're in Duchenne phenotype or a Becker phenotype.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
And we really value, we thank you so much, sir. If there are any more questions, kindly email to Bharat MD Foundation. We do appreciate sir taking his precious Sunday time to devote to our community at DMD community in India and all around the world. So thank you very, very much for this interactive session, which was so informative and much needed. It has clarified most of our doubts. And we hope to see these therapies coming to India and doing something indigenously. And we thank you once again for all your efforts and your guidance and your support to us. Rama,
No problem. Thank you.
over to you, Rama.
Thank you so much. I'm extremely sorry it's getting delayed by 5 minutes
okay.
more. Thank you so much for joining, sir. It's a Sunday. We appreciate and we also request on a personal note from the foundation side and from the community, the whole DMD community and the muscular dystrophy community, to please initiate or to please guide us how to move on in India. Because most of them are from the middle class or from the lower middle class families where they can't afford deflazacort also. As you said, deflazacort is cheaper in India, even though that is not being able to afford by many of the kids' parents. We request you to please take an initiative, or else please guide us in India how to move forward. Our extreme activities are like we are trying to do a neuromuscular centers wherein proper neurologists are there who can guide us. One of the biggest challenge in India is we have very late stage diagnosis. At the early stage, diagnosis is not being done, and because of the lack, the standard of care is not being taken care because of many other reasons, saying that the steroid has lot many side effects. The standard of care is also not being taken. If you see at a larger extent, if we speak to Sarepta says, how many of you are less than 10 or how many of your children are ambulatory at the age of 10? We don't have the data at our end. That's the problem we are facing as a foundation. I would request people like you, please come forward and train the neurologists who are in India to better standard of care implementing. This is what this is the only concern at our end. Thank you so much. Whenever foundation is asking you, you are ready to help us out and come forward and give us answers and all. Thank you so much, sir. I request the participants who have joined today, if possible, please join the foundation's movement in getting experts in getting DMD medicine to India. That's the only request from our end. Thanks a ton, doctor.
Thank you so much.
There's one Mr. Srinivas KV. I don't know. We ask him to put his question later, or we want to answer question that, or he can.
Sir is running late.
That's fine. I can answer him. Yeah. What question you have, Mr. Srinivas?
Yes, Mr. Srinivas.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Sir, my son have 45 to 52 deletion. Okay, and we are trying to enroll in clinical trials in US, but I got a letter mail from Trials GOV that outside USA patients they are not allowing. So, is there any chance to get it enrolled in that?
Yes, if you want to email me, I think it's, like I said before, there are some intricacies that we have to work through. Some companies don't take international patients, but there are ways around it. If you can just email me, we can talk through that.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Doctor, may I ask you something, if you don't mind?
Sure, last question. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to take your time.
It's
Sunday.
Okay.
I'm just asking, like, right now you are like serving in any pharmaceutical or like in a university doing research? Because I'm calling you from Canada. I'm not in India. I'm asking on behalf of my nephew Kashyap.
Sure.
So I have contacted Sarpita. I already talked to them. I have contacted London, Ontario University, because they had one unit over there. I don't think it's running now. So they closed that because after some cancellation of inline trials. So I'm not aware of those things, like that's their internal part. But I would like to know from you, like if you are in communicating, like or in a part of the research.
Yeah, so I'm in an academic institution. I'm at the University of Arkansas Children's Hospital. I don't work for any companies, but I do do a lot of consulting work for different companies like Sarepta, Solid, Regenex Bio. When I say consulting work, meaning they usually come to us if they have any questions when they develop the clinical trials and or any questions that they have in terms of how things are being done. So we do a lot of consulting work like that. And I am doing a lot of clinical trials also in our site from Sarepta and Pfizer and Regenex Bio and other companies, including for Duchenne. But we do a lot of consulting work for them, but I don't work for them.
So would you help anything to enroll any child into the clinical trial, or you could guide us how to do that?
Yes.
Because I did contact Sarpita that if you guys are taking a kid for a trial, I can I can bring my nephew to Canada and can be with you guys and get your guidance and take your trials as well. But they at that time they didn't have any clinical trial going on for that age of child. Right now I have no idea, but they asked me to wait for it and say in future if something comes up we will contact you, but there's nothing. I didn't hear anything from them, so I may contact them, but my nephew is around 14 years now. I don't think they have anything. Do you
Sir,
have any idea?
the doctor, sir, because we are really over time right now. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I apologize for this. But maybe you could email and express your concern, seek his guidance on how to proceed forward.
Yeah,
sure, no problem.
You can email me.
Please, we have put the email in the chat, and you can please, anybody else, please post your questions in the chat. We'll get back to you later. And we once again thank you, Doctor, very much. It was really a wonderful session, and we are really, really grateful to you and really appreciate your time and your concern for all of us. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sharda
I
ma'am.
just wanted to add here. Those who are like keeping a question, anyone has missed it, please mail to Bharat MD Foundation also. We will get you the answer.
शारदा मैम हिंदी में बताइए ना शर्मा जी को प्लीज थोड़ा.
Yeah, he's still there. I thought I'll put it in the group actually.
No, he's there. And many of them logged in from North India, na?
या शर्मा जी उन्होंने बताया था कि ऐसा कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं. वो आपने बोला था ये कौन सा मेडिसिन मोस्ट इफेक्टिव है, आपका पहला क्वेश्चन था. तो उन्होंने बोला था कि ऐसे कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं कौन सा ज्यादा अच्छा है या कौन सा ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं है, क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं होता है मेडिकल फील्ड में कि बताने के लिए. सिर्फ प्रेडनिसोल और डेफ्लाज़ोकार्ट में थोड़ा सा था, बट बाकी वैसे ये जो नए मेडिसिन आए हैं उनके लिए कुछ है ही नहीं थेरेपी का. और जहाँ तक 60% 10 years के अबाव का है, सेकंड क्वेश्चन आपने जो पूछा था, उन्होंने बताया कि हम एज और एम्बुलेशन जैसे चल रहे हैं कि नहीं चल रहे हैं उस हिसाब से देखा नहीं जाता है. अगर 10 years के अबाव भी है तो भी उनका हार्ट फंक्शन देखते हैं और ईच इंडिविजुअल का साइड इफेक्ट्स क्या हो सकता है, उनके अंदर क्या एंटीबॉडीज है, ये सब काफी कुछ चेक करने के बाद ही ऐसे सब थेरेपीज देते हैं, उससे पहले नहीं देते हैं. और थर्ड और फोर्थ का जो क्वेश्चन है आपने पूछा कि कब इंडिया में अवेलेबल हो सकता है, ये सब बातें इंडिया आपको फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज और इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के बीच में वो तय होता है. तो फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज को हमको जाना पड़ेगा कि क्यों आप इधर नहीं आ पा रहे हैं और क्या वजह है, क्या मतलब बाधाएं हैं आपके लिए. तो ये सब उनसे बात करना पड़ेगा और उनको पूछना पड़ेगा और फिर अपना हम लोगों को इकट्ठा मिलकर एज ए पेरेंट एडवोकेसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हमको गवर्नमेंट के पास जाना. हम लोगों को ये दवाई चाहिए, आप प्लीज इसको इधर इंडिया में लेके आइए या उसको सब्सिडाइज कीजिए. ऐसा कुछ भी हमको जो करना है हमें करना है. वो नहीं कर सकते हैं इन मामलों में। उनका कोई हाथ नहीं है, उनका कोई रोल नहीं है इन सब चीजों के लिए। ही इज ओनली अ डॉक्टर वर्किंग इन द यूएसए। आपका प्रश्न का उत्तर मिला कि नहीं राम गोपाल जी? हेलो हेलो
Sharma ji. Okay, he's on mute, ma'am. I think he is listening. I believe he's listening. We have one hand raised, Mr. Rambabu.
మేడం రమా మేడం, నేను సార్ని అడిగాను కదా, సార్ ఇచ్చిన ఆన్సర్ నాకు అంతగా క్లారిటీ రాలేదు మేడం.
సార్ మేము వీడియో రికార్డింగ్ అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాం యూట్యూబ్ లో ఒకటి. రెండోది ఇద్దరు పిల్లల గురించి ఏమన్నారంటే ఇద్దరిని కంపేర్ చేయలేము అన్నారు. బట్ SRP 001 ఉంది కదా, దానికి అప్లికబుల్ అవ్వచ్చు అన్నట్టుగా అన్నారు. రికార్డింగ్ నేను అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను, ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ మీరు విందురు కానీ ఒక 10-15 days తర్వాత. ఓకేనా? ఇంకొకటి సార్ ఈమెయిల్ ఐడి ఉంది, మీరు డైరెక్ట్ గా ఈమెయిల్ రాయొచ్చు. మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ చుట్టాలు ఎవరో ఉన్నారని చెప్పారు కదా, వాళ్ళతో మీ వాళ్ళతో ఈమెయిల్ రాయించండి సార్ కి, మీకు కరెక్ట్ రిప్లై వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా?
థ్యాంక్ యూ మేడం, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఒకవేళ పాసిబిలిటీ ఉంటే మనం వెళ్ళొచ్చు అక్కడికి థెరపీ చేయించుకోవడానికి.
అది అంతా చాలా 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 ఉంటాయి దాంట్లో. మీరు కాంటాక్ట్ అవ్వండి, సార్ చెప్తారు.
సరే మేడం.
ఓకేనా?
ఓకే మేడం, ఓకే. థ్యాంక్ యూ మేడం.
शर्मा जी, आपको और कुछ पूछना है तो बता दीजिए. I hope I have answered your queries. Somebody wants to know, is there any YouTube channel? Rama, can you tell them what it is?
We have posted the YouTube link in chat, ma'am. Again, we'll do it right now.
Some Radhika was asking. Yeah. So I think we can wind up. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar. We truly appreciate it.
Someone would like to say anything? Anyone would like to say anything? Please go ahead. You are
Sarda ji, thank you for organizing all this thing. मुझे सिर्फ एक ही चीज बोलना है कि इंडिया में ये एक्सेसिबल नहीं है क्योंकि प्रॉपर चैनल नहीं है। तो ऐसा कुछ कर सकते हैं कि प्रॉपर चैनल हो दूसरी कंपनियों को भी, क्योंकि उनके पास भी ऐसा कोई डेटा नहीं है कि ये डिसाइड कर पाए कि हमें क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स इंडिया में करना है या नहीं करना है। क्योंकि ऐसा होता है कि क्लिनिकल ट्रायल अगर इंडिया के बाहर और अलग एथिनिसिटी केस पे हुआ है तो ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं होता है इमीडिएटली कि हम इंडिया के किसी भी पेशेंट को दे सकते, क्योंकि उसका साइड इफेक्ट कुछ भी हो सकता है। तो इसकी यही दूसरा एक रीजन भी है कि इमीडिएटली हम किसी भी ड्रग्स को वहां पे लॉन्च नहीं कर सकते।
नहीं, वो बात आप कह रहे हैं, बट आई डोंट थिंक आई हर्ड ऑफ एनीवन टेलिंग सो फार कोई भी ट्रायल में किसी ने बताया ना कि एथनिसिटी के वजह से ट्रायल लॉन्च नहीं हो रहा है। उसके एक्चुअली मेनली इज बिकॉज ऑफ वी हैव टू नो व्हाट आर द रेगुलेशन प्रोसीजर्स, जो हम लोग उनको बुला सकते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे लेवल पे नहीं है। एज पेरेंट एडवोकेसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हम लोग पूछ सकते हैं गवर्नमेंट को, कि बता सकते हैं कि देखिए हमारे इतने बच्चे हैं, इतना डाटा है और इतने लोग हैं जिनको जरूरत है। तो उस हिसाब से वी हैव टू, देयर इज अ प्रॉपर चैनल वी हैव टू फॉलो थ्रू, एंड एज एडवोकेसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भारत एमडी फाउंडेशन हम कोशिश जरूर कर रहे हैं। वी आर इन द राइट डायरेक्शन, वी आर गोइंग फॉरवर्ड विद दैट. We are just we need support of all the parents to come together as one and join hands with Bharat MD Foundation so that we can put across this point to the policy makers.
This is Dr. Pranati Gupta here.
Yeah.
I wanted to answer that question in a different way. Say basically, we need the regular some data to present to the pharmaceutical company that we have this number of patients, and what the data we don't have. So that is one thing that is lacking to approach any pharmaceutical company or to get any trials in India. Second thing is what I would say is the basic surveillance of these children has to be done. Without doing the basics, we cannot go high up. So when we approach any pharmaceutical companies with this, our limitations in India compared to the other centers in the world are that we don't have enough data and we are not doing the basic surveillance well. So these are the two limitations for the pharmaceutical companies to accept our requests. There are certain centers in India who are doing these research and accessing the services, but they are doing a very good surveillance programs and they do have enough data, and we can present that. So there are 1 or 2 centers in India which are accessing the services of the international trials.
So is it possible for doctors to report this data to any particular organization or fund? Because I don't think that people in India would have that access like a normal person. A doctor has those information and they can report to a particular organization. So doctor would be the great path to go through.
To answer that question, for the past 13 years I have been in India. I have hardly any 1 or 2 neuromuscular patients completely having the surveillance. So we are trying to see if we can actually get everybody on one platform, do what is the basic things, at least surveillance for checking the child's status and how to support them. So unless we have this data, we cannot, approach any pharmaceutical company. They do want numbers, and they do want international standards of care to be followed. That I don't think we are doing. There's no uniformity. At least, if we can start all these things actually come from the parent support groups, and parent advocacy is very important in pushing things forward in our country. The numbers matter. So I think, as a parent advocacy group, Bharat Foundation has to push parents to at least do the basic surveillance and, secure the data so that, we can approach these companies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a ton, Dr. Pranati. Great supporter to Bharat MD Foundation.
Thank you.
Thanks a ton, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Pranati. We appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think, Rama, we can end the meeting today.
Yeah, we can end, ma'am. Again, the same request coming on, as doctor also suggested. Data is important. We need to have common unified data. Please do support the foundation in this matter. We are trying our best. We are also parents. We are also trying our best to do better management to the kids. That's all I wish to say. Thanks a ton for all joining at this hour.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all the doctors who joined. Thanks a ton for the support.
Thank you, Rama Garu, for organizing the parent awareness. I think we need to have more looking at the questions that were framed and asked today.
Great.
I feel we need to organize these parent awareness webinars at least.
Yeah.
Just to raise the awareness among the parents, what can be done and what should be done and what is the standard of care.
Great.
At least the minimum. I think just doing the surveillance is not that expensive. There are supportive measures as we were discussing. So I think, we should get the standard of care. If it is not in a private hospital, at least in a government setting, we can do this. So it is doable. So I think, the surveillance is very important.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, noted, ma'am. And we will try our best to get at least 1 or 2 trials to India.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. शर्मा जी, आप लाइन पे हो, आपको कुछ और पूछना है, if it is possible. Hi Rohini, I have responded to you in the email. We would be happy to connect with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
This
Thanks.
one,
Yep, bye.
she said she couldn't understand the answer. So once that YouTube is uploaded, we'll revert back to you, ma'am. So we'll listen to that and we'll get back to you. What is our reply to your question?
Great. Thank you, Sharda ma'am. Thanks a ton for the last minute. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Thanks a ton, Sharda ma'am. Thank you all. I'm winding up the session now. Thanks a ton.
Thank you. Thank you, Raman. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Good night.